Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host. This evening's topic is a general overview of the band Rock Bottom. With me to discuss this evening's topic are band members Rich and Pete. Gentlemen, well, hey. Do I want to use the word gentlemen? Yeah, sure,
loosely,
why not?
Pete, loosely.
Loosely. Yeah. Gentlemen,
thanks for
how are you?
Hi, Pete. Good to see you.
How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Glad to be here.
Can I ask you a question to start off?
You can ask me whatever you want.
The lead-in song.
Yes.
I mean, can we
cover
make a song?
You want to get...
No, we'll write a song.
We'll put some lyrics
We'll write a song.
All right.
We can do lyrics, but that might be distracting.
Exactly.
You know? But why don't we figure out, that'd be a great project for us, to do the lead-in for your show.
You guys want to do the lead-in?
Yeah, we do want to do it. I mean, that was great. That was really great.
Yeah.
How long is it? About 20 seconds?
About 30.
That's about all we could handle, so that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That'll take us 6-7 months to put 30 seconds together.
All right, we'll work on that.
It'll be a rocker.
All right, we can do that.
What kind of music would you want? Like, you want like heavy metal, or you want some classic rock kind of thing?
No, I don't think I want to.
No, the lounge. You want the jazzy lounge thing?
Right.
No.
We got a sax now. Yeah. We have a sax, so
we can do some really cheesy, loungy music. Perfect.
Maybe he doesn't need another song.
Maybe.
I think that would be cool to sit and talk about. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about that after the show.
All right, we can do that. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So, gentlemen, tell us a little bit about the band. What's the name of the band, and what's the origin of the name?
Well, the band is called Rock Bottom, and the origin of the name is that I was sitting home in my basement, and it just sort of came to me. So there's not a big long story about that.
He was in his basement, hammered. His wife made him go down there. His son was watching SpongeBob. Okay, and he's in and out. He's in and out. This is my version of it.
Okay.
He's in and out.
Sounds close.
And Rock Bottom is below Bikini Bottom. and it just kind of came to him.
Seriously, it was after a rehearsal, I remember, and I was thinking, we didn't have a name yet, and I was thinking, man, we just stink. So we are like the worst, Rock Bottom of the and it's perfect.
Was that that Christmas party? Was that at that Christmas party?
It might have been.
Because that was
bad. Yeah.
We weren't really
cohesive.
Yeah. It wasn't. We weren't really. All the pieces weren't in place at that point.
The pieces weren't there yet.
The pieces weren't there yet, and I would say we were playing. What songs were we playing that night?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. You kidding?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you know I was right.
This was a couple of years ago.
This was probably 2007.
All right.
Yeah, it was. We were recording it. We were still in the basement. We were still playing in the basement, weren't we?
Possibly.
We weren't playing out yet.
No,
really.
I don't think so.
And I remember the recording of that. You had recorded it.
Really?
If this is the same, yeah, you recorded it, and I kept yelling in the microphone.
Oh, I think you're right.
And how bad this was going.
Yes,
remember
we did. We had a little like mini DV recorder.
Yep.
Which, when I played it back, it was all pixelated, and we couldn't see.
Couldn't hear it.
Probably sounded better that way.
Yeah,
it probably sounded better.
So that's the origin. Is there's really no.
There's really no.
Not a great story to go with it.
All right.
Pete embellished it nicely.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's what they'll remember.
There you go.
But the band itself is a neighborhood band. I mean, it is a Clinton neighborhood band,
right.
And that's the best part about playing locally is that, you know, we had our drummer lived on the street. We had you and I were on the street, but you guys, it was you, Dave Como, and Rob who really started playing, and then the mayors would come over once in a while and
exactly.
jam in the
so yeah, so the street where we live in Clinton, right? My neighbor right across the street, who's a state trooper, plays the drums. I didn't know he played the drums.
All right.
But he played the drums, and then two houses down from him, there was a dad and his son. They were guitar players.
All right.
And then a couple of houses where that was Pete. And then my friend Dave Como, who lives in Clinton but not on our street, was also a guitar player. So it was just, we just got together just to sort of have fun and to jam at the beginning. And I don't know what made us think that we could actually perform in front of people, but something did. So the pieces kind of, the dad and his son kind of drifted away, and we got somebody else. And then the guy at the very end of our street, a guy by the name of Bob Neri, also known as Doc Rock. He was a disc jockey on PLR in the 60s and early 70s. He was on the show the last time.
Yes, he was. He was on it.
And Bob's a sound engineer, so we had a built-in sound engineer who could make us actually sound halfway decent. So we rehearsed for Pete joined, we rehearsed for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then we played a party at his house, and the feedback was good.
All right.
So we said, hey, maybe we can make a go of this.
There was a lot of feedback too during the game. There was feedback. Both
Yeah,
kinds of
because Bob
feedback.
had a couple of bushes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the first night I came down there, it was Dave, Rob, and Rich.
Okay.
Rich had a keyboard going, and Rob was on a first act drum set. I think he was on
Toys R
Richie's
Us.
Toys
Yeah,
R Us.
my middle son at the time was about 8 years old, and he wanted to learn how to play the drums. So we went and we bought a first act drum set at Toys R Us. And it was one of these things where we didn't want to spend any money because we didn't think he'd ever stay with it.
Right.
So we walked in, and there was a drum set in like a shopping cart that somebody had returned.
Right.
Just pieces. We said, okay, we'll take it. 'Cause
Fine,
we knew
it's ours.
Right. And that was the one Rob started with.
And he was hammering it. He was hammering it.
And then 3 days later, he bought like a regular Ludwig, beautiful
Yeah,
drum
yeah.
set.
Drums to really.
Yeah. So once he did that, it was kind of like,
That's when
all
it
right,
clicked.
now get a mic, get this, get the other thing. And then we added Matt Dunn and Tony Genovese, right? I mean, that was really where kind of was like.
Right, who are
things
not
and-
from Clinton, but Matt and Tony, Matt's our lead guitar player, Tony's our bass player.
Okay.
Both their wives teach in the Clinton school system. At the time, they were both teaching at the Joel School in Clinton.
All right.
So there's a community there.
All right.
So.
So actually, that was going to be my next question, but we sort of covered it, but we're going to get into detail about it. Besides you two gentlemen, who else is in the band?
All right. Well, we have, like I said,
Yep.
Tony plays the bass. Tony Genovese plays the bass. Matt Dunn plays lead guitar. Jenny Russo, who's another homegrown
Oh, yeah.
Clinton girl, is singer, lead singer.
Right.
And Rich and I, and then Ron Adams plays the drums.
Okay.
So we've kind of had an evolution in the drum, the drum thing, because
A revolution and an evolution.
Yeah,
We've
right,
been-
exactly.
Since 2007, we're like the band Spinal Tap. We've had like 6 drummers.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only position in the band that keeps changing. I think it's something about guys that play the drums. But Ron's been with us a while. Ron's a good drummer and a good guy. And he actually makes his own drums, which is cool.
He makes his
Builds
own
his
drums?
own drums. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's got to be pretty cool
It's
to see.
awesome. Yeah. So if you come to any of our shows,
Yep.
you'll see he's got different drum kits at every show. And very unique, some really unique stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
It's everything. So if you come to 5 or 6 different shows, you're never going to see the same drum kit twice.
Maybe not.
Wow.
Or at least a part of the drum. You might have a
Exactly.
different snare or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So as far as what genre of music do you consider your band to be? And who were some of your major influences?
Genre of music.
Well, okay. It seems like a lot of cover bands, like we're classic rock. But, I think our job is to make sure that the people that we're playing for have a good time.
Yeah, when
Right.
we started, we played a lot of classic rock, a lot of Beatles and Rolling Stones and these
Right.
kind of things. And it was fun and people liked it.
Right.
But it was the more danceable
Right.
things that people. So we really started to evolve into more of a party band. So we play the classic songs that everybody knows and everybody can sing along to, but we like to make sure that at the same time you can dance to them.
Right.
So that's what we're known for. Like Pete said, our job is to make sure people have a good time.
Exactly. And I'm sure your audiences, wherever you are, do have a good time.
Well, we hope so.
Exactly. You guys have a good time.
As long as we're having a good time.
I was gonna say,
we
you
always
guys-
have a
I
good time.
forgot Dave Cook, our sax player.
Oh,
in the
shoot.
band.
Oh,
I know, that would've been real cool, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, he's new, and
Okay.
you kind of go, you're just kind of going around the horn thinking about all the pieces of the band and how it's evolved. But he's, what is it, 6 months now?
Right, but we never had a sax player before. You talk about
Yeah.
music, the types of music that you can play. So when Dave joined the band, that opens up a whole nother area of music, things that we can play, different bands that we couldn't play before. And different genres of music like rhythm and blues, which is, has a lot of sax,
Exactly.
a lot of horns. So it was great. So we could expand our set list and play a lot more different things.
Well, I'll
which
tell you,
people seem
I'll
to
just
love.
say- just the thing about influences.
Sure.
My father played the drums in a band, the Ray Frank band, and
Very famous.
Ray Frank played the accordion. He was out front, play the accordion, and my father always considered himself the second best drummer in the world,
Okay.
next to Buddy Rich. So
Okay, sure.
growing up, I honestly believe that my father was the second best drummer in the world.
Maybe he was.
So he probably was. So fast, the guy was fast.
Yeah.
Instead of getting his license for his 16th birthday, he got a drum set. He didn't get his,
There you go.
He didn't get his license until he was 18. But one of my favorite stories about my father and the love of music, and that's just kind of how
Sure.
it's in your blood, is, you know, he passed the Tuesday. So I think Frank Sinatra died on a Saturday.
Yes.
And my father died the following Tuesday in May of 1998. And my cousin came in from Colorado, and, you know, we're distraught. You know, he was only 59 years old. And my cousin comes up the driveway and he says, you know, guys, you know why your father had to die? And we're like, who says that? Who says? He says, Sinatra needed a drummer.
Oh.
And I'll tell you what, my father, like, if you think about what your kids could possibly say about you when you're gone, like what you love, knowing what you love.
Exactly.
I always thought that was a cute story. But my influences were all very, you know, standards.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with the standards and even musicals for that matter. You know, I was in a lot of musicals as a kid, as was Jenny. You know, I think both of us are kind of comfortable being up front for that reason.
The cool thing about our band, one of the cool things is that we have very different tastes in music, all of us. Like Pete said, Pete and Jen, standards and show tunes and that kind of thing. You like that. You know, I come from, I like 60s rock, 70s rock. You know, that's my thing. Matt and Tony like progressive, like Rush. That's their favorite bands of progressive rock. I don't know about Ron. I don't know what kind of music Ron likes. He, our drummer, he plays just about anything.
Yeah, well, they got to come on the show to tell you.
That's right. If they were here, they would tell you. But we're the only ones here.
You know, I got my father on one level of the house doing all that stuff, and then my brothers, Leonard Skinner. Like, I mean, how many times did I hear those? Every time we play a Leonard Skinner, it's dedicated to my brother.
Right.
You know, they love the Eagles. John Clemmer. I mean, how much John Clemmer did I listen to growing up? So it was kind of all over the place. We joke about that sometimes, all those different albums that they would listen to upstairs.
Right.
So.
But it's what you grow up with. Where the house I grew up in the 60s, my mother liked Tony Bennett and Johnny Mathis and Frank Sinatra. That's what she listened to. My father listened to opera. But I had aunts and uncles that were younger, in their teens, that used to live with us, and they played all the Beatles stuff and the Rolling Stones. So you hear all this, you know, you get this kind of thing going. You hear all this influence.
You know what, gentlemen? That was first segment. Would you mind sticking around for segment 2?
Oh, I'd love to.
All right.
This is great. I love talking about myself.
We'll be right back after a break.
This is the ocean. And this is Kipper. Kipper doesn't live in the ocean. But if she did, this is likely what would happen. And this is Sparky. Sit, Sparky. Sit. Sparky, like many other fish in the ocean, is homeless now. Boozer the bird. Ouch! Boozer doesn't like that. And Fluffy. While Fluffy doesn't seem to care about much, this makes him seethe inside. We wouldn't let this happen to Kipper, Sparky, Boozer, or Fluffy. In the oceans, it's worse. Lacking opposable thumbs, Kipper can't take action. But you can. To find out how, visit BeringSeaCanyons.org.
And welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, sitting here with the two distinguished gentlemen from Rock Bottom, Pete and Rich. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not a problem. So we talked about music the first segment. Let's continue the discussion.
All right, yeah. I think that's a great idea.
I think that's what we're here for.
I mean, I was brought here under the ruse that Jon Stewart was going to be interviewing us, but then I had the treat that Pete Mezzetti would be on the Pete Mezzetti Show. I can't believe it. It's a dream.
That's what I had to do to get him to come.
Oh, is that what you?
No, I would have. Had I known, it was, you know. No, I'm kidding.
We're teasing.
We love you guys
Gee,
more.
Thanks.
We love you guys more than anything. The Mezzettis.
That's right.
Exactly.
Pete's mom's our biggest fan.
Yeah.
I know.
And your dad, too.
Exactly.
Every gig.
Yeah, I know.
It's awesome.
We all know how to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, we do. So how long has the band been together, and how do you all know each other?
Well, like we were saying before,
Right.
we started in 2007, and it's mostly neighbors, you know, and people that aren't neighbors, like we were saying, our guitar player and our bass player, their wives taught at the Joel School.
Yep, sure.
My son actually had Matt's wife. Matt's wife was a kindergarten teacher, and my son was in her class. Right. And that's sort of. And our first lead singer before Jenny Russo was a girl named Amanda Esteban, who was cut my hair.
Yep.
So I was getting my hair cut one day, and just was talking to her about things in general, and told her we had a band, and she goes, "Do you need a girl singer?" I sing. And I didn't know she sang.
Really?
So I said, "Well, come down, and we'll see." So she came down, and So, just friends, and it really has to be that way at the beginning because it's, it helps to know each other when you start in some sort of endeavor like this because it's not, there's a lot of work involved, there's a lot of commitment.
Oh yeah, of course
in being in a band, a lot of commitment, a lot of time.
So did Luca have Christy?
No, Richie.
Oh, Richie had Christy.
Richie had Christy.
Jack,
No, Joey. She was Joey's kindergarten
she was
teacher.
Joey's kindergarten
She was Richie's reading teacher, something like that.
Okay.
Do you have something to?
No, I was just saying it's funny. I had a son who Christy had in class too. That's all.
Christy Dunn. Yeah.
All right.
Great teacher.
Yeah, she's a great one. Great one.
All right, so.
So 07.
What?
Well,
Go.
I'll just talk.
Go, talk.
You don't have to ask us a question.
All right.
Right.
So we started 07. We practiced for a little while. We didn't really start playing until, I guess it was June of 08. We played in the backyard
Was that what it
for our
was?
block party, something like that. And then we played a couple shows in the fall. But our first real show out was in the spring of 2009.
Right.
So you figure, it's been really only 5 years where we've been kind of playing out.
Right.
But here's the thing about it is that, music is, for some reason there's a lot of claws and a lot of tentacles when you start playing out, and a lot of different fundraisers that we're happy to play locally, and it's we've met a lot of people through it, and you kind of see what people struggle through, and you have an opportunity also to use for lack of a better word, talent, to either raise money or see a community come together. A lot of group of people, lots of groups of people to come together, whether it's the library or people who are struggling with, some setbacks. So it's really been great. So
we play a lot of venues, a lot of different places around restaurants and bars and things. But really, we use those for people to come see us. So they hire us to do their charity events. Those are the things we really love to do, and because they're the most appreciative audiences. I think if we had to sit down as a band and talk about it, we would probably say our most fun gig we ever had was when we played at the Clinton 350th party. Yeah. What did they call that? The Heritage Days or something?
Reunion. Yeah, 350.
It was just awesome. It was awesome. You were there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just to have everybody in town. They're all friends of ours, but just the people coming together in the community, and the fact we were able to go up there and entertain them. And I'm not from Clinton. No, I'm not born here, but I feel like those are the kind of events that make you feel like you're part of the community. And we've done things for the library. We've played at that library gala many times. Sure. So whenever and wherever we can give back. And if there's anybody out there who watches the show that needs a band for a charity event or anything like that, contact us. We're always open to do those kind of things.
Now tell us a little bit about the instruments you guys have and you guys play.
Well, I play the keyboards, and I have I don't think we can name manufacturers here. It's probably not a good idea. But when you play in a cover band, and you're playing a lot of different kinds of music, because we play music from the 50s right up to the, up to the music that's happening now. There's a lot of different instrumentation and that kind of music. So I get to cover on the keyboards a lot of the things that we don't have, So I have a synthesizer, I have a little keyboard that makes all kinds of different sounds. It sounds like all kinds of different instruments. Then I have another keyboard underneath that's more of a piano and organ. Okay. And that's what I play. Our guitar player, Matt, he's been using the same guitar for many years. Tony, our bass player, he loves gadgets, so he keeps upgrading, and he went from a tiny little amp to a little amp about this size. Now he's got this humongous thing that he
I'm the one who has to carry it.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Yeah, great.
So if anyone wants to be a roadie.
Yeah.
Right. I think our sax player, Dave, he's had the same saxophone since he was a kid. The older those instruments are, the better they sound, the sweeter they sound. And we talked about our drummer. He builds his own drums.
Exactly.
And then, our PA. And so our whole goal has always been to have the least amount of equipment possible, because we're all old. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, those, the things that they don't weigh so much at 7 at night, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, they weigh a lot more.
Exactly. After you've played for 3 or 4 hours, it's like you got to pack everything up, lug.
Right, but even since 2007, when we started, the technology in the PA, the mixing boards and the amplifiers and the effects and all those things, has come such a long way. We've probably reduced by hundreds of pounds the amount of equipment we had, just by downsizing and buying the newest things that come out because they're so much smaller. Our mixing board now is really is an iPad, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny when you have people who all have jobs.
Right.
You know what I mean? We all have.
We're all busy.
And so here we have, like, we're playing, you know, music later in life a little bit, and so we, you know, have the opportunity to do that. And you think about all the great, talented kids out there who, you know, who are trying to get a part-time job just to get some of this stuff. And but anyway.
And as far as what kind of charities or town events have you played, and do you have a favorite? I know we talked about it before, but we're gonna bring it up again.
Right. Well, like I said, the 350 Heritage was my favorite.
Yeah, it was a good event.
I think Pete would.
Yeah, the library is the Clinton Prom. It's the adult Clinton Prom.
That's
every
right.
year.
Everybody lets their hair
you know,
down at that one.
goes to that one.
Right.
You know, we've we've played, you know, over at Peters. We had that Zacharoo, what they call it, Zacharoo.
Right, there was a
Remember that?
benefit for a kid in town who was
Right.
injured in the fall. We played at that. I think our, maybe, the 350 in Clinton was great, but something that we do on an annual basis is it's called Beach Jam for Breast Cancer.
Yes.
And that's held every August, late July, early August.
At the Elks.
At the Elks Club, correct. There's another band who's local called Free Play.
Okay.
We'll get them on your show.
You should have them on your show. And those guys started it, and it's a tremendous event. They started very small with just, they had known somebody who was at the Smilo Center, a friend of theirs had breast cancer, and they, you know, they started a little thing at the Elks Club where they invited some people to donate and a couple of bands, and it's grown into a tremendous event. I think they had, last year we had 10 bands, and they raised $40,000, I think over $40,000 for Smilo in Middlesex.
Yeah.
So that is a tremendous, tremendous charity, and it just shows what, you know, what a group of people can do when they put their mind to it, and the connection. You know, there's a lot of bands.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of bands out there. There's not a lot of places to play. A lot of bands competing for the venues, but we're all friends.
Right.
A lot of people we sit in with each other's bands, and there's a great camaraderie because of the music. That's the thing that keeps everybody together. Yeah. So when these guys put the call out, say, we need bands to come, donate your time.
Right.
They never have a problem. They have too many bands, basically.
Exactly. And I know this past weekend they had the Smilo bike race, and
they had a bike run,
They had a bike run, and they made. I don't know what the final number is, but they made a lot of money.
Yeah, Free Play played at that one.
I actually worked. I was in Westbrook at the water stop in Westbrook at the town hall. I was there for 8 hours. I must have seen about 340 bikes go through.
Right. Well, it's amazing the amount of volunteers at that beach jam.
Yeah.
It's incredible. There's almost as many volunteers as there are, you know, people just going to enjoy the music and donate. So that's a great event.
It is.
And I would encourage everybody to go out and support that event and go to that event. It's just a lot of fun.
It is.
Because the Elks Club in Westbrook.
Right.
There's no better Elks Club in America.
No, definitely not.
That's
definitely
such a beautiful
not.
spot. It's amazing.
It's a nice spot. I've been there a couple of times. I've been there to see you guys play. I've been there for dinner because my dad's a member. So it's really cool.
We did a couple of Morgan high school reunions there, I think.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, local football team.
And we did a local football team fundraiser there just recently. Yeah.
Really? So I'm not asking questions for the last 2 minutes. So what else are we talking about?
All right. So we you know, before we leave, we have to, you know, have you commit to letting us.
I should be committed. But that's another story.
Right. We're gonna remake.
We're gonna remake your.
We're gonna remake my theme
before we say goodbye, right? So
all right.
We'll work on that. It should be interesting. That'd be a fun project, though.
Yeah,
we can do that.
And and so how long have you been doing this?
I've been here with this organization for about a year, but before we were doing that, before I was here, we did this over at Comcast in Clinton.
How many shows have you done, do you think?
I have done probably a couple hundred. Couple hundred. I've interviewed people from local mayors, local first selectmen, to you guys, to forensics expert Dr. Henry Lee.
Oh, wow. That's right, I remember that.
Yeah, I had Dr. Lee on with
Simpson,
me. Yep.
Yeah.
And as far as people, I don't know how much time we have left, so we're going to ask just one more question. You're in another band.
Oh yeah, I mean,
tell us about it.
You end up kind of reaching out to into different areas, and so is Rich.
Right.
Or I'm going to get him into one. We have 81 South, which is another kind of a shout out to Clinton itself, which is 81. You take 81 South and it takes you home. So
Right, exactly.
that's just an acoustic trio that plays out once in a while in little smaller venues.
All right.
And we do a contemporary worship service at the Lutheran Church in Madison too, which is it's really like a full rock band kind of thing. And
Really?
and we're gonna get Rich playing the keyboards before he knows it. We already asked him to do that, so that's a great experience, and that's on Wednesday nights.
Well, gentlemen, we're about out of time, so I want to thank you guys for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Hopefully, we'll do this again soon.
Yeah, and the audience.
Maybe
here is
next
great.
time we
You
can
guys
play.
are great.
I know. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
On
next time
behalf
we'll
of
bring the whole
Rich and
band.
Peter, I'm Peter. Good night, and we'll see you next week.